start with a bold, thought-provoking question. If God created all of humanity, can he really be confined to one religion? Briefly introduce the idea that God transcends religious labels and explore why this message challenges conventional beliefs. Mention how religion is a human-made framework to understand and connect with the divine, but God, as a concept or being, is universal. Let's dive in. 1. The origins of religious labels. Religions didn't emerge overnight. They evolved over centuries, shaped by cultural, historical, and geographical influences. Early humans, seeking to make sense of the mysteries of life, birth, death, nature, and the universe, developed belief systems. These systems eventually became organized religions. For example, Christianity emerged as a Jewish sect in the Middle East, later becoming a global religion due to colonization and missionary work. Hinduism, on the other hand, is deeply tied to the Indian subcontinent, its practices woven into the fabric of its culture. Yet all these religions sought to answer the same fundamental questions. Why are we here? What is our purpose? Is there a higher power guiding us? The takeaway: religions are human-made responses to divine curiosity, but God, if real, exists independently of these frameworks. God existed before Christianity, Islam, or Hinduism, and God will continue to exist if these systems fade. 2. The universality of God. Imagine this: two people stand on opposite sides of a mountain, each describing what they see. One sees a dense forest, the other sees rocky cliffs. They argue over who's right, not realizing they're both describing the same mountain from different angles. This analogy works for religions and God. Christianity might emphasize God's grace through Jesus, Islam might highlight submission to God's will, while Buddhism focuses on enlightenment and transcendence of suffering. At their core, however, all these faiths recognize the divine in some form. Key idea: God, or the concept of a divine presence, transcends the human tendency to categorize and divide. Maybe God is less concerned with the how of worship, the rituals, rules, and labels, and more concerned with the why, our intentions, actions, and hearts. 3. Religion as a lens, not the truth itself. Religions are like maps. They help guide people towards spiritual understanding and a connection with the divine. But just as no single map can show every detail of the earth, no single religion can fully encompass the vastness of God. Take the analogy of light shining through stained glass. Each piece of the glass represents a religion. The light, God, passes through each one differently, casting unique colors and patterns. But the light itself remains unchanged. If we get too attached to the lens, our specific religion, we risk missing the bigger picture. God is the source of the light, not the glass through which it shines. 4. Historical and cultural influence on religious identity. Have you ever noticed how religious identity is often an accident of birth? A child born in Italy is likely to be Catholic. A child born in Iran will probably grow up Muslim. In Japan, they may practice Shinto or Buddhism. If God were tied to one religion, does that mean people born outside of that religion are doomed to miss the truth? That doesn't sound like the work of a loving, omnipotent being. Historically, religion has also been used as a tool of power. Colonial empires spread Christianity as part of their conquests, and other faiths have similarly been used to justify wars or political domination. This human misuse of religion raises an important question. Can something so tied to human ambition and error truly represent the fullness of God? 5. The danger of exclusivity. Religious exclusivity, the idea that one faith holds the sole truth, has been a source of division, conflict, and even violence for centuries. Crusades, jihads, inquisitions, and modern-day extremism all stem from the belief that our way is the only way. But if God is truly all-loving, why would he exclude the majority of humanity simply because they were born into a different faith? Would a God who is love itself really set such arbitrary boundaries? Instead of seeing religions as mutually exclusive, what if we saw them as complementary, each offering a piece of the puzzle, a different angle on the same truth? 6. The role of Jesus in this discussion. Jesus Christ, the central figure of Christianity, is often used as the cornerstone of exclusivity claims. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me, John 14 verse 6, is frequently cited as proof that Christianity is the only path to God. But what if this statement isn't about religion, but about Jesus' teachings? Jesus taught love, forgiveness, humility, and service to others. Perhaps following the way isn't about joining a specific religion, but embodying those values. It's also worth noting that Jesus frequently broke religious rules of his time. He ate with sinners, healed on the Sabbath, and spoke to Samaritans, people considered outcasts by the Jews. His actions suggest that God's love transcends human boundaries and divisions. 7. Interfaith harmony and God's bigger plan. If we accept that God is not limited to any one religion, it opens the door to interfaith dialogue and mutual respect. We can begin to see that people of other faiths aren't our enemies or competitors, but fellow travelers on the journey to understanding the divine. Consider the parable of the blind men and the elephant. One touches the trunk and says the elephant is like a snake. Another feels the leg and says it's like a tree. A third touches the tail and says it's like a rope. Each is partially right, but only by sharing their perspectives can they grasp the full picture. Similarly, different religions offer partial truths about God. Together, they might help us see the whole. 8. Spirituality beyond religion. In modern times, more people identify as spiritual but not religious. They reject organized religion but still believe in a higher power. This shift reflects a growing realization that connection with God doesn't always require institutions, rituals, or labels. Spirituality focuses on personal experiences of the divine, moments of awe in nature, feelings of deep connection with others, or the quiet peace of meditation. It suggests that God is not confined to churches, mosques, or temples, but is present in all aspects of life. 9. Criticism and challenges to this view. Of course, this perspective isn't without its critics. Some argue that if all religions are valid, does that mean none of them are true? Others worry that this view dilutes the unique teachings of their faith. The answer might lie in balance, recognizing the beauty and value of each religion without claiming exclusivity. We can honor the traditions that shape us while remaining open to the idea that God is bigger than any single faith. 10. Conclusion. A God for all. In the end, the question isn't whether God is a Christian, Muslim, Hindu, or something else. The question is whether we, as humans, can look beyond our labels to see the divine in one another. God, if real, belongs to no religion, yet is present in all of them. God's essence isn't tied to a church or a book, but is reflected in every act of kindness, every moment of connection, and every expression of love. Maybe it's time we stop asking which religion is right and start asking, how can we better reflect God's love in the world?